Well, welcome to session two of really kind of part two of Christian spirituality. We kind of got, finished the introductory stuff with the Bible. And so now is where the rubber really hits the road. You understand the Bible, how it's structured, you understand how to look up passages. Now it comes down to spending time reading the Bible. And so that is what this session covers. So we're going to talk about time. Now, a lot of people find this the most difficult part of reading or praying. I talk with folks, and one of the main reasons people give for not spending time reading scripture or praying is they just don't have the time. And I'm not surprised. I've seen culture shift over the past several years. To me, time seems to be compressed, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. We think because we have technology, we should have more time than ever before, but that's not the case. And there are a lot of reasons why we feel time strapped. We might work for an employer that has tried to save costs by doing the same amount of work with less employees. Might find yourself taking work home in the evening or answering emails or texts in the evening on the weekends and maybe even while on vacation. So, we continue to work even on that time off, so to speak. We have more options. Kids sport programs continue to gain momentum, and parents, we feel our children need to be part of these programs if they're going to have all the advantages they will need. And instead of finding downtime on the weekend and maybe catching up with some stuff around the house, we find we're busier than maybe we are even during the week. We also have activities we enjoy: hiking and fishing, going to movies, spending time with friends and family, going out to dinner, riding, working in the yard, just spending time gazing. We might love these activities, and this list is not even close to being exhaustive either. But they all take time. And so we must choose where we will spend our time, because time is a valuable and limited resource. Usually we view money as a limited resource, but it really isn't. Time is what's really limited. We might be able to make money, but we can never make more time. We only have 24 hours in the day, and it doesn't matter if we are rich or poor. We still just get 24 hours. So we usually spend our time doing things that help us to survive, make us feel good, or strengthen our bodies. We work because we need an income so we can survive. We participate in sports, spend time with friends and family, find hobbies, watch TV, other types of entertainment we find enjoyable because they make us feel good, and we like to feel good. We also sleep, eat, and maybe exercise because, things that we need to do in order for our bodies to grow, recuperate, and be healthy. So we've got a lot of stuff on our plate to fit into a limited amount of time. Well, we also need time if we're going to have strong relationships. I had a pastor in college that told me one time that kids spell time T-I-M-E. And he didn't tell me that because he was a bad speller. He was trying to make a point that we might talk about quality time and quantity time because it makes us feel good. We say, well, I spend quality time. I don't spend a lot of time, but it's quality time. And we say that because it makes us feel good for not spending time with those that we care about. But if you think about it, we must have that quantity time in order to have the quality time. So no matter how we cut it, it's not just kids that spell love T-I-M-E. We do as well. Henry H. Knight III says there are two components to relationships: presence and identity. Cultivating a strong relationship requires that we are present with the other person. Ever have someone pick up their phone and start using it while you're trying to tell them something that's important to you? You don't feel like they're present with you. And in order to be present, we must carve time out and be focused on the other person rather than what we might need to do, what's going on our phone, or all the other stuff going on in our mind. The other person must also feel like we know them. When we are there and we know the other person, that identity, a strong relationship is formed. Presence and identity require our time. sometimes significant amounts of time. So I want you to spend some time thinking through a strong relationship you have. Think about when you first met the person. Maybe you didn't know them, and then someone introduced you, and then think about how that relationship has developed over the years. And think about someone that you really, really know well, and they know you well. Because there's probably some point in your life where you didn't know them. So go back and just think through this. You can stop the video if you find that helpful. So I'll give you a couple of moments to stop the video. All right, so maybe you're back. I got this from, I forget exactly where, but I've seen similar things. I think it was in Disciples Path. It's something we use at the church that I serve. And I think this is right, the stages of presence. If you think about that relationship, you might be able to say, yeah, there was one point where I was ignoring this person. I didn't know them, hadn't been introduced. Maybe you saw them, and then all of a sudden someone introduced you, and then you started exploring the relationship. Maybe you talked with them a little bit, and then maybe you went a little bit deeper to get started. Maybe you went out to lunch or dinner, grabbed a cup of coffee. As you got to know the person better, perhaps you did other things and your relationship started going deeper. If you have a real good friend, perhaps you even have gone on vacation together, and so you're going deeper. And then maybe you're not at this point yet, but I know of some couples that have been married for a very, very long time, and they just know one another. They're centered in one another. They know how the other person might feel when something happens. And so that is a centering relationship. My point is this: in order to have a rich, flourishing relationship, it takes time. But once our time is spent, it's gone. So it's important to reflect on how we spend our time. Just really be intentional about it. Have you ever really thought about how you spend your time? Sometimes I encourage folks to do what I call a time inventory. And that's where, just like you might do a food diary or a food log, just go through and just, write down how you spend your time. Do it over a day, do it over a week. You might be surprised. Even though there are still only 24 hours in the day, many days it feels like there's even less than that. So I'm going to end this session right here with this idea of a time inventory. I hope that you will spend some time doing this inventory, keeping track of how you spend your time. And in the next session, I'm going to give you some suggestions on what you can do with this time inventory, time log, whatever you want, or however you want to phrase it. And the whole point of doing this is so that maybe we can find some themes or some trends in how we use our time, our limited resource of time. I do pray that God would bless you in this. I pray that He would open your eyes and that you would get a sense of how you're spending your time. And I pray that it would be a fruitful and eye-opening experience. So I will see you for the next session, and we will talk a little bit about how this time inventory might be helpful.